Now the word is getting all fancy on us. What's it gonna do next? Catanians, Cities and Nights. I'm just gonna keep playing it probably forever. So we are playing the Oceania Seafarers expansion with Cities and Nights. And let me tell you, I keep forgetting how small of a starting area that you have for placing your initial settlement in your initial city. On the right side, you have 7 hexes, which seems like a lot, but when you're playing with 3 players, you can run out of good spots very quickly. And then on the left side, you also have 7 hexes, with the robber starting out on the 12. So if you build on the 12 at all, it's immediately shut down from the get-go. So I'm looking around this board. I'm like, I'm going last. And usually I do like to go last, but second to last is optimal for this setup. So I'm jokingly hovering my orange settlement above the stone port on the 9 stone. But it may have not been that terrible of a spot, because to get a port early on in this setup of a board where, you're really lacking for ore, honestly. There's only a 10 and a 9. So I'm going to choose not to build on ore whatsoever. I'm going to go for the city on the 8 lumber and the 5 sheep. Because I'm on the coastline, I'm going to put a ship off of my city. And because I built on a lumber and a sheep to start with my city, I immediately get a free ship. And I know it's not going to get stolen because the robber gets blocked whenever a 7 gets rolled in Cities and Nights on the first round of the Barbarians attacking the islands. You have to wait for them to arrive and then settle up with the number of knights for Defender of Catan, and then any 7s rolled after that, after the robbers initially attack for the first time, then you can move the robber or the pirate wherever you want on the board. So I know I'm getting that free ship to start out with, and I know that those undiscovered islands, I'm 1 space away from them. So I build 1 ship, I discover an island, I see what it is, and I get a resource card from whatever island, whatever hex that is. So if it's a wheat hex, I'd be very happy because I'm built on an 11 wheat. And the only other wheat that we know of right now on this board is a 3 wheat. So the wheat options were not good whatsoever. So I do understand why green built on the 6 sheep with the 3 wheat. Because although the wheat is not good, the sheep is good, and they also get the brick port. And actually, I kind of take that back because their starting settlement is on a 9 ore, a 10 ore, and a 6 wood. So I guess it's kind of good because they do have double 6s going. Every time a 6 is rolled, they will essentially get a ship off of the 6 lumber and the 6 sheep. And that starting city is on the coastline, so they can hop on down with 3 ships and discover that undiscovered hex in the Oceania middle area there. But I have a good feeling about my setup here because I am getting paper and cloth from my city, and I'm also in a great position to discover some hexes in the Oceania middle island. And what do you know? I discover gold. I strike gold on the very first one. The very first tile flip over, and it's a 6. What more could you ask for, right? So, of course, we know that even in Cities and Nights, if you discover a gold hex and you build on it, and that number gets rolled, you only get resource from it. You cannot get commodities from it, but that's okay. Because for us, that's going to be an immense help, because we don't have any hexes producing ore. So having the 6 on our side, which we're going to build on as soon as we possibly can, is going to be very, very helpful for our city upgrades later down the road, because, and I'm referring to settlements being upgraded into cities, because right now we really are going to have a very, very tough time of making that happen with no ports, not a whole lot of resource production, because, the starting 2 islands are so small, there's really not a lot of room to build on them. So that's why you kind of, if you want to win in this scenario, you really got to get to the middle undiscovered islands as quickly as you can, discover them, build on them, and go from there. And the other thing that you could try to do is kind of build all the way across from one side of the board to the other, because that would also basically net you longest road instead of trying to build around the border, which is what it's looking like blue is probably going to do. They already have 2 ships off their city. It looks like they're going to go try to discover some hidden islands as just like we are. And I was like kind of torn because I was moving my ships 1 per turn to discover the other hex right below the 6 gold. I was like, I kind of want to block blue in case they have road building or they have 2 ships hitting up their sleeve, because they could just cut me off in this position and prevent me from getting over to the 6 gold so directly. But instead, they build their ship kind of away from the 6 gold. They're going to take the other route and discover that other hex above the 6 gold. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Even better, an 11 gets rolled. I get the 1 wheat that I need. So now I can build a knight, defend my city from the incoming barbarians. Plus I can place my knight on a good spot. But then green decides to double down on their cities before the barbarians arrive. They do have an activated knight, but they do the cheeky strategy of they have a knight, so they're going to protect at least one of their cities. And they build another knight so that the other players, even if they build and activate a level 1 knight, everyone still loses a city. So I'm like, that is very, very smart of them. I know exactly what they're trying to do. And they can do it because if me and blue have to downgrade our cities back into settlements, we're going to have the hardest time trying to upgrade them back into cities because we're not built on ore whatsoever. Green's the only one built on ore. They're going to run away at this game, and the rest of the game is just going to write itself. Green will have a foolproof strategy, assuming I can't build on this gold hex and this 5 wheat that I just discovered. So now I'm kind of feeling like I'm back in business. I don't have ore, but I did discover a very good wheat hex, and I'm about to build on that gold hex. So I'm like, let me just build one more ship when I can, and I'll build on both of them at once with a settlement. And then I will be off to the races with green. Because me and green right now, it seems like we have the best shot at winning this. Because blue, unless they can get on the 6 gold before me or discover something even better that is still hidden away at the top of your screen, they're going to have a tough time because they're not built on ore. They're not even built on wheat. If you're not built on at least one of those in cities and knights, you really don't stand a chance, I don't think. I mean, they do have a 3-for-1 port, but they're going to just have a really tough time. They have a bunch of hexes that will promote them building ships with the lumber and sheep coming in, but other than that, they got to get on a different type of hex to really improve their game here. So a 9 is rolled, of course they get absolutely nothing. And fancy that, every time a 9 is rolled, blue gets basically a free ship and a paper. So that's cool for them. So I go ahead, I throw another ship out on the board, and now I'm in prime position to build a settlement on that 6-5 spot. Assuming 9s don't keep getting rolled, and blue keeps getting, ships. And blue could have really snuck in and built on that 6 gold spot. But I guess they just didn't, again, just the simple fact of not having a wheat and possibly even a brick to be able to actually build a settlement. Maybe they were trying to save up the 3-for-1, and they draw a wheat from their gold hex. They discover a 9, so we have the ultimate combo. If you can build on the 6-9 gold, the 69 gold, what everyone fantasizes about, you will be in a very, very delicious spot for this game. And then if you can get a city on that, wow, now we're really talking. Plus, that's a 9. So keep this in mind. If they build on that 9, every time a 9 is rolled, they're going to get sheep, they're going to get lumber, they're going to get paper, and then they're going to get a free resource of their choosing. How crazy is that? And then because their blue is getting paper, they're going to be upgrading their green city improvements. One of the green progress cards is Alchemist, so they get Alchemist a 9 whenever they get Alchemist, and just choose to have all those resources coming in whenever they get alchemist. So of course we lose to the barbarians, but I am actually safe because I built a knight, a level 1 knight, and green also built a level 1 knight, but since blue built nothing, only blue loses a city because of course when the barbarians arrive and everyone gets defeated, whoever contributed the least or nothing at all loses a city. So that's very unfortunate. So now blue is stuck with just 2 settlements. They're stuck at 2 victory points. So that's going to be a hard road for them. But if they can build on that 9 gold, and of course I had to use diplomat, and instead of taking away one of blue's ships, I recognized that blue wasn't really trying to infringe on my territory. I already have the settlement on the 6 gold, 5 wheat by now. So I'm like, let me go discovering. Let me cut through the island with a road so I can get on that other side. And that way I'm not really competing with blue for spots, because I don't want to run into a situation where blue cuts me off and builds on something I was going for, and then I completely have to do a 180 and go build the other way. Let's just kind of share the board, because right now they just don't have any momentum at all. They don't have a city on the board. They're struggling to build a victory point in general. They've lost a victory point, haven't built a single one. So I'm like, okay, my main fight is with green. Green is winning the game right now. I know they're going for, they got 2 cities on the board. They have a lot of different commodity. They can get any type of commodity they want at this point, because they have paper coming in, they have coin coming in, they also have cloth coming in. Now of course I want 6s, but I realize that 6s are very, very hot for green. So I'm trying to get my commodities coming in so I can get my city improvements leveled up, because I want to get a Metropolis. I don't want green running away with the game and just getting all 3 Metropolises, because that would just be insane. How do you compete with that? That would be an unorthodox strategy. Can you still win the game with someone else getting all 3 Metropolises? If someone could pull that off, that would be incredibly unorthodox. So that is my challenge to you all. And to myself, because I love those type of challenges. Okay, so I have a lot of cards here. I don't have a city wall, but that's all about to change because I do have engineer in my hand. You know, I never really gave much thought to city walls. You know, just spending your 2 brick or I only really do them when I get an engineer card. But they're actually, you know, halfway through the game and later, when you're getting a bunch of cards in your hand, like as you can see right now, city walls are vastly important, because a 7 can just kill any momentum that you were having. Like you were about to build a city, build some roads and a settlement, or trade in for this city improvement, or, you know, do a crazy swing where you're trying to steal someone's Metropolis. So you trade in for, let's say you were able to get like 4 coin, upgrade a level improvement city 4 on the blue side, and then you were able to trade your way up to level 5, or to trade up to 5 coin in the same turn. You also had crane, so it only cost you 4 coin to get to level 5 and then steal someone's blue Metropolis. You know, a lot of crazy turnarounds can happen. A lot of point stealing is very possible in any scenario of Cities and Knights that you play. I've seen it happen. I've done it myself. It is heavy with emotion, depending on which side of it you're on. If you're stealing someone's stuff, oh, it's amazing. If you're getting a Metropolis stolen from you, it's the absolute worst thing that can happen in Cities and Knights. But I digress. So a 9 gets rolled. Blue just vastly is just like, give me all the cards. And I'm over here wishing I had a 9. I'm over here wishing I had the science bonus, so I could at least get a single card. But nope, that's not going to happen for me. But I am in a nice position. I am in the lead so far, mainly because of that merchant I threw on the sheep. Because sheep are, I mean, they're kind of helpful, but at this point I could just build roads on that middle island to discover other things rather than ships, and still be okay. And the kind of one reason I would do that is if a 7 gets rolled, instead of moving the robber, the other players could decide to move the pirate ship in an area where I was trying to build more ships, and then can just completely stop my discovery going on. But I decided, you know what, let me just build a ship off of my other ships going over on the 5 wheat, so I can discover that 8 brick. And I already have a 4 brick, but I just another brick is all right. It's mainly the number 8 that's going to be super hot for me. So I'm like, okay, I'll build on that, because I will also be building on the 5 wheat. I can't get enough of wheat in cities and knights to do all my stuff. Activate my knights, build cities, build settlements, and generally just use it as a bargaining chip for other players. Except for when 9s are rolled. Man, blue is just cashing in. Of course, they get whatever they want, and they did decide to build on the 6 and 9 gold at the same time. So now basically every player benefits off a 6 from this game. Green benefiting the most, and then me and blue, still benefiting pretty well, because it's a gold hex, right? So I have another engineer. Actually, no, I didn't even use it actually last time. I think it was because I was just making sure my city wasn't going to be downgraded by any possibility of that. Green building a bunch of cities, or someone using deserter on my knight. So I was like, you know what, let me hold off on using engineer in my city until after the barbarians have attacked, and I have a bunch of turns to deal with that if I'm in a situation where I might lose a city on the next go around. So I do get my I9 activated, build my city wall. I currently have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in my hand, so any more cards would have been more than I would have been able to hold if the 7 was rolled. And look, there goes the 7. But now I can hold up to 9 cards. Yes, that's right. So it's, with a city wall, you can hold 2 extra cards per city wall. And you can only build up to 3 city walls. So the maximum, if you had 3 city walls, the maximum cards you could hold in your hand would be 13. And the things you can do with 13 cards, let me tell you. I'd be curious. I have to think about it and go over it. But with 13 guards, you should be able to build at least one thing in cities and knights, whether it be a knight, a road, a ship, a settlement, a city improvement, activate a knight. You should be able to do at least one thing. Sometimes you'll have 7 or 8 cards, and the thing you're trying to do, you just can't quite do it because you don't have the port, or you don't have merchant, or you don't have a progress card to help you out. But with 13 cards, you should be able to do it at least one thing. I just don't see how you wouldn't be able to, unless you're in some kind of very specific situation where you're trying to get a metropolis and you weren't really trying to do anything else, or you weren't at that point to where you didn't have 2 roads or 2 ships built off of an existing settlement or city to build another settlement. But yeah, 13 cards, 3 city walls. Just having 3 city walls is just very, very helpful, because sometimes you could have 2 hexes with the same number on them. Like you could have a wheat hex and a stone hex, both with 5s on them, and every time a 5 gets rolled, you could have a bunch of cards coming in, and that could boost you from like 6 cards to 11 cards. And then you're like, man, on the next turn it'll be my turn, so you're about to roll, but you have 11 cards in your hand, and then you roll a 7, but you're like, wait a minute, because I took the time to build those city walls, I don't burn cards, I get to steal a card from another player, so I'll go from 11 to 12 cards, and then now I can actually do something good with my turn. So with 12, it's rolled, and you're just like, well, there's only one 12 on the board, but no one bothered to build on it because it's a 12 lumber, and it's bumped up right next to an 11 wheat. So there's really no good way to build on that 12 because green took the 6 lumber 10 or 9 ore. So I'm just gonna leave that 12 there, and I just wish I had the science bonus for rolls like that. There's just an inconvenience to a 12 being rolled, You're just like, man, I was hoping for this resource or that number to be rolled so this stuff could come in, and on my turn, when it comes up, I could do this, and then like a 12 gets rolled, you're like, man, that just doesn't help anybody. So now you're stuck waiting another round of turns until you can be in a position to build some stuff. So of course I roll that 7, pass it off to blue. Blue rolls an 11, so I do get a wheat. They did discover another 11 wheat on the board, so they're probably going to build on it because they'll be on that 9 gold as well with that settlement. So very, very smart. And at this point, blue does have longest road, but I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of in a spot to where I could take it. I don't want to take it just yet because I want to focus on other stuff. That way later in the game, I'll just have so many resources coming in because I'll be so built up with cities and settlements that taking longest road will be a breeze. But if I fight over it right now, then blue's going to keep fighting back for it. And I'm like, if I do that, then green could kind of sneak up on us, get a Metropolis, or get some more expansion going for themselves on the board. And I'm like, it's not quite that time. I'm going to keep having my city improvements going. I just used 2 cloth and get level 2. The next go around with 3 cloth will net me the trade bonus, which does come in handy so much. Even if you don't get the yellow Metropolis, like someone else gets it before you, still try to get the trade bonus because that allows you to trade any 2 of the same commodity in for a resource or any other card, for any card of your choice, really, or for a commodity. You can trade 2 cloth in for whatever you want, 2 paper in for whatever you want, 2 coin in for whatever you want. And it especially comes in handy when you have maxed out a color city improvement. So if you've gotten to level 5 and you secure that Metropolis so no one else can steal it, but you still have those commodities coming in, you can just 2 for 1 of them for whatever you want. And it's almost like having your own port, but it's unlike a merchant because it can never be stolen. You have that ability for the rest of the game. You don't have to worry about someone else playing a merchant card and stealing it from you because you just earn that bonus. So it's a very nice thing to have, especially, if you can get it at the halfway point of the game and just to have it for the rest of the game, it'll come in handy, especially in those down-to-wire scenarios where you and another player are battling it out for victory, and you're like just ready to build this one last thing to get yourself in a nice position to win or to cut them off or whatever, but you couldn't quite do it because you didn't have that trade bonus and you needed it. Just have it. It's really good. All the bonuses are very good to have. But mainly, science bonus and trade bonus, those are my 2 favorite. The politics bonus just allows you to build level 3 Mighty Knights. And unless you're one of those people that's, always going for Defender of Catan as your kind of a core strategy, like that's the strategy you like to do, is to earn a lot of victory points from winning against the Barbarians, then sure, but the other 2 bonuses are by far my favorite. So 8 gets rolled, the Barbarians come in, and who's going to win Defender of Catan? That's going to be yours truly. Shout out Dupinator. Man, you're so good at Catan. How do you do it? So I get an extra victory point. I'm boosted up to 8. We are playing to 15 victory points, if I didn't mention that earlier. All the scenarios have their own victory point limit. That's just how the developers or the master of this game, what's in it, Klaus Tuber, decided it. So this one's a 15. It's not crazy like Greater Catan where you played a 20. That's just insane. Or I think with 4 players you played a 21 victory points, if I'm not mistaken. So at 15 victory points, we'll call this about the halfway mark because we just need 7 more to win. And if we do get in a position to take longest road, not quite yet. I think I want to get a Metropolis before I take longest road. So if I get a Metropolis, they'll put me at 10 victory points. If I take longest road, they'll put me at 12. And I just need to, upgrade a few settlements to cities, and we could be out of here with a victory. Now, I do check the dice statistics throughout the game. I've been doing that lately because it can help you with kind of watching what other people are getting, resource-wise. If, let's say, a bunch of 6s have been rolled, you'll know that green's been getting a bunch of sheep, lumber, paper, and even cloth. But now that one city has been downgraded back into a settlement, and then you can try to build on a 6 of your own, or you can also look at the dice statistics. Let's say 9s are just off the wall getting rolled. If you can grab Inventor from the green progress card stack, you can swap one of your numbers with a 9 and then try to benefit from 9s getting rolled so much. But of course, sometimes when I do that, then it just backfires because all of a sudden 9s just stop getting rolled all that much. So yeah, it's just you just kind of got to feel it out. Got to experiment a few times. But I always keep an eye, especially certain games you're built on a good number. Like I've been built on a 5 before and it doesn't get rolled till like 3/4 of the way through the game. I'm like, wait a minute, 5 is just behind 6 and 8 in terms of probability being rolled. Why has it not been rolled once? And you're just sitting there waiting for that resource to come in, and 5s won't get rolled, and it really doesn't make sense because there should be a good balance of all the numbers getting rolled. Yes, some more than others, of course, because of the probability. But sometimes in Catan, it seems like, or in Catan universe, certain numbers in certain games just don't get rolled at all, or barely at all, and you're just left there scratching your head because you're like, wow, I had this really good strategy set up with my starting placements, and it just didn't work out because this one resource wouldn't come in because this one number wouldn't get rolled. And now the ultimate 6 gets rolled. I am now built triple down on the 6, so I'm getting 3 resources of my choice. So I'm like, man, what do I even want? What am I even trying to do? I'm at 9 victory points. I'm 6 away from winning. What do I got to do to start, really bringing this thing home? So I decided, let me build 2 roads when I can. But then Green was like, no, let me play Master Merchant and let me take some cards from you. And you know what? Because you have, those type of cards, let me take a road from you, basically. So they're going to build a road, and they did the opposite of what I thought they were going to do. I thought they were going to build a road down to the 3-for-1 port because they already had a road pointing towards it on the 10 ore, and they just went the other way. So I guess their main goal was to get a knight that was touching the 6 lumber hex so they could get the robber off of there, which does make sense. The robber did stay on there for a good while. So now I'm going to go ahead and move the pirate. I moved it in that exact place so that blue cannot continue to build knights. Ships going that way, because right now they would have to build a settlement and then build roads off of that settlement because the pirate ship only blocks ships but doesn't care about roads at all. Roads can just be built all around the pirate ship with no issue. Nothing blocks roads. The only thing that messes with roads is Diplomat, which allows you to move a road or ship off the board that is open, that is not have a knight in front of it or a settlement or city. So with that in mind, another 9 gets rolled. That is 3. Wow, that's only 3 cards for blue. Imagine if blue had a city on the gold 9, on the lumber 9, and on the sheep 9. That would be 6 cards with 2 commodities and 4 resources. That would be incredible. But they go ahead and they wisely place a settlement on the 9 lumber, 5 sheep, 9 sheep. So now when a 9 gets rolled, instead of 3 cards, they're going to get 5 cards. That's pretty darn good. And now their settlement, their best city option would be that settlement they just built on the board. And green is going to get the politics bonus, so I'm pretty certain that green is going to get the blue Metropolis. I'm kind of in the running for the yellow Metropolis. and then we'll see about the green Metropolis. But right now I really want to get that yellow Metropolis. So what am I going to do? I have a 6 wheat in my hand. Let me throw Merchant down on a wheat hex that I am built on. And let me go ahead and get that yellow Metropolis and go from 9 victory points to 11 victory points. And I'm going to build it on my OG city, the city that started it all this game, on the 8 lumber and the 5 sheep. And now I can trade in and build 2 ships. And I discover, first I take Longest Road, but then I discover a 3 brick, the best hex on this board by far. Would you agree? So now that I've taken Longest Road, I can focus on maybe getting the green Metropolis, because that would bring me to complete victory. Because again, we're playing to 15 victory points. I'm 2 away from winning. I have reduced blue from 6 victory points back to 4. I just am in a crazy, crazy lead. I have run away with this game. I ran away with it when I built on that 6 gold and the 5 wheat, let's be honest. You know, green did have a chance to be in the running with me, but then green's just kind of, I guess they just haven't been able to do much, or they've just been hanging back. But I'm just like, let me just keep going. Let me keep building roads. Let me keep building settlements. Let me get a Metropolis. But then green was like, wait a minute. I know I haven't been doing much this game, but let me get a Metropolis as well. So they did in fact get the blue Metropolis like I predicted. At 11 controlled, I get my wheat. And I'm like, man, I'm so close. If I can just get that green Metropolis, I'm away with a win. And finally, late in the game, I will in fact get the science bonus. So that's the first step. You get the science bonus when you're already at level 2 on the green city improvements, and then you're like, okay, I'm 4 paper away from winning. That's 4 cards. I need 8s to be rolled, and if not 8s, I need 5s to bring in a bunch of wheat so I can 2-for-1 it with my merchant on the wheat, and we'll be golden. Now you look at the timestamp here. We're 32 minutes into this video, and it's a 48-minute video, so you're like, Dupinator, Unorthodox Master of Games, you're 2 victory points for winning. How does it take you another 16 minutes to win the game? Well, that's my bad luck. I don't know why this happens, but I'll get so close to winning, and then it'll take me another 10 to 15 minutes just to put the win fully away. Because at this point, any other players in the game are now exclusively targeting me to shut me down and hold me back from winning just long enough to give themselves hope of getting back in the game and catching up to me in victory points. So you're going to see with another 9 being rolled, that is 5 juicy cards for blue. And blue's like, you know what? I had that Longest Road for a while. Let me take it back. And they know that they have a 6-length shipping route, and I only have a 7-length shipping route. So all they have to do is build 2 roads or 2 ships, or 1 road and 1 ship, depending on their setup, and take Longest Road right back from me. So I was looking at the game log. I can't exactly remember why. I was just taking a peek there, seeing what everybody got. Looking at the game log is helpful if you have resource monopoly or trade monopoly, so you can see what resources or commodities people have received in the past few turns, and you can see what they've spent if you haven't been keeping track of it closely. So that is the critical part. What have they spent and what have they not spent? So you know that this is what they kept, and you can resource monopoly with full confidence that you will be getting at least some cards rather than no cards. I can't tell you how many times people have used resource monopoly or trade monopoly and gotten 0 cards when they could have gotten cards if all they would have done is paid more attention or looked at the game log. It's really, really that simple. So just another one of those deeper strategies, those tips and tricks of Cities and Knights, making sure that you know exactly what's going on so you have the best chance of winning and getting ahead and stealing from other players. It's a whole bunch of things you got to keep track of. But it is possible. You just got to pay attention. So I will go ahead, use my aqueduct or my science bonus for a wood. And I was like, man, let me get on that 9 gold because I haven't gotten on that in a while. I know how hot 9s are for blue. So let me try to hop on it. So I point the ship going that way because I don't want to build on a 3 brick. Are you kidding me? I want to build on 9 gold. And blue shuts down my 8 sheep instead of putting the pirate ship in that area that would have prevented me from moving my other ship over onto the 9 gold 11 wheat. So I was thankful for that. And then they throw down a knight. But honestly, if I was blue, I would have moved the pirate ship over to in that water area right next to or in between my 8 lumber and my 6 gold, because I kind of have a chance here. I just realized if I can build 2 ships or 2 roads and then place a settlement on that other 8 lumber spot at the top of your screen, I can cut blue's longest shipping route basically in half, because they did take longest road back from me. So that is actually very, very possible. I just have to get the cards to do it so I can do the 2 rows of the 2 ships and the settlement on the same turn. Because how crazy would that be this late in the game to just have such a power play like that? And of course the 6 allows me to get whatever I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take another ship basically out of that gold. And then I'm gonna use Diplomat. I'm gonna take away one of blue ships. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna build 2 ships. And I'm gonna place a settlement right smack dab in their shipping route. And by doing that, I cut off their longest road. They go down to just 6 roads, or 6 roads and ships. And I now have the longest shipping route. I am 1 victory point away from winning with that power play. That was a 3-point swing. Not only did I take longest shipping route, I also built a settlement. That's 3 victory points, and I'm super close. But yet, look at the timestamp. I'm still 10 minutes away from this video being over. So you're wondering, why does it take this long? And now you see I just went back down to 13. So I lost the victory point because green blue did it. Blue took my merchant, so now it's their merchant. But I'm not really worried about it. I can see another merchant coming my way. And then everyone's taking merchant. Now green took merchant. They're at 7 victory points. They don't want to be forgotten about. They want to at least get the double-digit victory points. And they're going to get the science bonus. But you know what? I'm not too worried because I don't think they have enough cards to get that Metropolis before I do. I do have 1 paper in my hand. A 4 gives me a singular brick. Whoop whoop. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get to that green Metropolis before green does, because that will give me the victory. But it's just the cards aren't coming in as I would hope. So I'm gonna have to use Commercial Harbor. Commercial Harbor is just another great progress card. You can give it a throwaway resource card, and they have to give you a commodity of their choice. And usually they'll try to give you the one that they think you'll least need. But at this point, I'll take any commodities, because as soon as I get 2 of the same commodity, I'm using that trade bonus. I'm 2 for 1ing it for the commodity that I'm looking for. So 2 cloth, I'm gonna 2 for 1 that for a paper when the time comes. I don't want to do it now, because if you get a bunch of paper in your hand that you can't quite use yet, then other players could potentially steal it from you. So I'm just gonna wait on it. I do have 2 city walls on the board. I can hold up to 11 cards. Everything will be okay. I'll just kind of play it low-key for now. A 9 gets rolled again. Look at all those cards going over to blue. Now that they have a city on that spot that I was suggesting, they're getting 1 paper, 1 cloth, 2 lumber, 2 sheep, and a card of their choice off of the 9 gold. That is just incredible. Hats off to you, blue, but you're still at 5 victory points. You're going to want to take longest road back. Oh, and they get the science bonus. So blue was all about that longest road, so I think they're going to try to go for it again, even though I've taken it from them twice now, but they refuse to go down in a defeat. So I'm not sure how exactly they're going to do it. I think they might go build off of their roads on their 9s there and build some more roads and kind of curve it around. Yep, there goes one road. Let's see how many more they build and try to take longest road that way. But that is that's a short-term victory because they can only they're running out of room to build roads in a continuous line. So that's going to be hard for them to keep longest road long-term. But of course, why am I speaking long-term? This game should be over within like a couple turns. But of course, another 9 gets rolled. You're like, with all the 9s getting rolled and all the resources coming and commodities coming into blue's hand, you think blue would have been at more than 5 victory points. But I've showed you the whole game. You know, it's not like my older gameplays where I just show you bits and pieces of an entire game and the video's like, 5 to 10 minutes long. This is a full-fledged game. I show you everything that happened just so you're on the same page as me with how great this game went for me and how poorly it went for the other players. And now I'm gonna go ahead, try to get myself back out there. I still have longest road, longest shipping route. I do have medicine, which I will be able to take advantage of. Being given that I have 2 lumber and 1 wheat, and I'm gonna upgrade my OG settlement on the 8 sheet 4 brick 11 wheat into a city, and just be in a position to get alchemist and do an alchemist on a 6 or 11, because in 11 you'll see that someone used inventor and swapped my 5 wheat next to the 6 gold out for 11 wheat. But what do you know? Another 6 gets rolled. Everyone benefits from it immensely. Even blue is now is sharing the 6 gold with me, but they're also built on the 6 sheet, and they use spy. And they go ahead and they take away progress card from me, as you should. And I'm at 14 victory points. So I'm like, come on, man. 1 more victory point to win. I have a bunch of cards in my hand. It just needs to get to my turn. But we're just sitting here. We're like, man, it's just taking so long. And what do you know? They're going to build another road. And then another road after that. So now I'm back to 12 victory points. They've taken longest road once again. This is why it's taking so long for me to win the game. Because just when I get really close to just needing 1 or 2 more victory points, I keep getting pulled back. And if you remember, there was a point in this game when I was at 13 victory points and the other 2 players were at 4 victory points apiece. And now you look at it, you're like, I'm only at 12 and they're at 7 and 8 respectively. And then blue, for good measure, throws down an extra road on the board. So now I have to build at least 2 or 3 ships, I believe, just to take it back. And on this roll, oh my gosh, a 9 gets rolled. And at this point, I'm getting a little worried, because if 9 just keep getting rolled like this, like crazy, blue is going to really get back in this game. That might even get a Metropolis. To think. Now, I am also keeping an eye on green, because they did go ahead and build a settlement on that 3-for-1 port off the 10 ore, and they're in a prime position to build a ship and discover one of the undiscovered hexes, while also using Deserter to steal one of my knights. At this point, I think it's futile to go for Defender of Catan, although they are in their perfect position to take Defender of Catan, and they discover a water hex. That's what you get for stealing my knight. Good luck finding another hex. Hopefully that one's a water hex too. A 7 gets rolled. I appear to be safe. I do have a bunch of cards in my hand. It looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 10. 10 cards in my hand. It looks like blue had to burn cards because they did not have enough city walls. So they will presumably take a card from me. Hopefully they don't take a lumber, brick, sheep, or wheat, because I really want to build a settlement on that 9 gold, 11 wheat, but we'll see what happens. They also have 3 progress cards in their hands, so who knows what they have up their sleeve. And I was just given a sheep. Is that right? Oh, it is my turn, actually. Oh, it's my turn. I rolled the 7. And I stole from blue, took the sheep. That's right. Okay, I gotcha. So now I place a settlement on that 9 gold, 11 wheat. I should have done it a long time ago, I know. And at this point, I could either get the green Metropolis coming up next turn probably, or take Longest Road. We are very, very close to doing either one. A nice 10 gets rolled. Victory comes to us, and that should be a victory point for green, which it is. They get Defender of Catan. Aqueduct, because I don't have a 10. I'm going to go ahead and take another stone, because I could do so many things. I could upgrade one of my settlements to a city, because I only have 3 cities on the board, and of course you can build up to 4 cities in every scenario except for Greater Catan. So I'm like, man, so many options, so many different ways to win. Should I take the Longest Road? Should I get a city? Or should I take the Green Metropolis? And it was really, really interesting because the other 2 players were also at level 3 on the Green City improvements along with me. So it was anybody's Metropolis to take if they were just focused on going for it. And hopefully had the good dice rolls coming in. And green discovers a sheep, but it's a 12. But they discover a 3 ore, so what do you know? That's not too bad. So yeah, if one of them had taken the green Metropolis, green would have gone to 11, or blue would have gone to 9, and I would have been diverted away from taking that and would have had to go for the city or Longest Road instead. But that 8 just sealed the deal for this game. This game is now over. This is going to be my last turn. You know, we had a good run here. Blue had a good run, fighting back, taking back longest shipping route, longest road, whatever you like to call it. Technically in Seafarers expansion it's called longest shipping route because there's also ships, not just roads. I go ahead, take a bunch of sheep, and I can do whatever I want. I had 3 different options here. I could have taken longest road, could have built a city, or could have gotten the Green Metropolis. So I teased getting longest road by building a ship. Now I'm tied with blue at 11 length shipping route. But instead I decide, you know what? Let me get a second Metropolis. Let me put it on that 6 gold, which is so deserving of it. That 6 gold has helped me out immensely this game. And I'm actually going to surpass the required amount of victory points to win. Instead of 15, I got the 16 victory points. So what a very good game of Seafarers Oceania with Cities and Knights. I want to thank you all for watching. Did you like my strategy? Was it just the dice rolls that were the story of me winning this game, or did I actually play it well? Thanks for watching. Let me know. More Cities and Knights videos coming to this channel. Take care.